All right, hey guys, so we're going to start out a little light today. First live for the Idaho Commercial Property Management Cleaners. Um, for you property managers out there, you guys have a tough job. You're dealing with tenants day in, day out. You're trying to make them happy. You're trying to make deals. And you're trying to make that money. Who can blame you? So I wanted to maybe see if I could help a little bit by presenting 3 ways to keep your tenants renewing those leases and keep that money in your pocket. First thing I was thinking of is address legitimate complaints quickly. This is depending upon the lease, of course. Certain leases, whether it be full service, modified gross, triple net, you have different responsibilities, of course, to the tenant. But if your tenants feel like they're the top priority, they will be happy. They will be happier, of course. And certain situations must be addressed immediately, while others can wait a few days. You should aim to resolve any complaints within a week's time. And it could be anything. I don't know what you guys are dealing with out there, but it could, depending on the lease, it could be, hey, it's the paper towel dispenser in the restroom, in the common area restroom is broken, or whatever it may be. Just take care of those things. That's the first one. The second one would be keep up with the property maintenance. Of course, again, this is depending upon your lease. We have all those, the full service, the triple net, the modified gross, the gross, whatever you guys are entering into with your client. Of course, there's different obligations there as well. But a little bit ago, a couple years ago, my family went to Disneyland. We brought our kids there. We had a lot of fun. And then halfway through the week, we spent a couple days in Disneyland, and then we went to Legoland. And no diss on Legoland, but there was a stark difference between Disneyland and how that was upkept and Legoland. Disneyland, there was every little thing that was, every little corner was painted and touched up. All the stickers that were on the rides or whatever it needed to be, presenting certain marketing material was fresh and updated when it was torn. Where Legoland, you would see faded and cracked signs. You'd see garbage about in the vegetation and the landscape. You'd see all that, and it was crazy to me because at Disneyland you wouldn't see that. And as a consumer, of course you wanted to be in Disneyland more because you just felt like you were in a better place. And if they're gonna spend that much time and effort taking care of their facility, it just, I don't know, subconsciously you think you're getting a better experience, and you really do. So when it comes to your facilities, if it's just the preventative maintenance, the common area doors, hinges squeaking or it's not shutting right, or maybe there's some chipped glass or broken glass or a malfunctioning item, just take care of it if it's your responsibility. And if it's not your responsibility and they mistakenly call you on something that's not your responsibility, be nice about it and help them the best of your ability, but also enforce the lease, of course. And then the aesthetic appeal. Again, going back to Disneyland, the landscaping, going around the facility, picking up trash and the litter, making sure the parking lot's restriped, and just, man, that does so much for a property if just those minor things are taken care of. Where the cement barriers where you pull your cars up to, those little bumpers, if they're painted, make sure they're topped off, make sure they're looking good. Those are very minor costs, but have major impact. So that would be number 2. It's just keep up with the property maintenance. Take pride in your property, and the tenants will notice. And now I know you're going to say, hey, I've got these corporate tenants. It doesn't really matter what the local people think or say. I'm dealing with corporate. And that's true. Corporate makes all the decisions. They're the ones that's cutting you the check. But I promise you that's not going unnoticed by the local group and the local management. which eventually will probably make their way up to corporate. All those words that they have to say. Number 3, in the words of Patrick Swayze in the hit movie Roadhouse, be nice. You know, nobody wants to deal with a crabby landlord uh, or a leasing agent. You can still enforce the lease and be nice. You can also do some extra surprise and delights for the tenants. This isn't alone going to seal the deal, especially with the corporate leases, but it doesn't go overlooked. Um, I promise you, it's not a sign of weakness to be nice and to show that kindness to your tenants. And then if by chance if you don't have a renewal already in place, some options in place for that lease, negotiate a favorable renewal. It's all, this one isn't, if it's not already in place, like I said. Of course, you need to have your increases in your lease, but remember to make it a win-win situation. You don't want to be in a situation that you've now got an empty suite or an empty building if it's a one single tenant building, and now you're in a situation that you're bleeding financially, and you've got to find a way to stop that bleeding. It's better to be in the situation that you've got a win-win situation. Maybe you didn't get all the increases you wanted, but you still got a tenant paying your bills, and that's what you want. Of course, like I said, you got to have those increases. You have to have those either annual increases or however you have them scheduled out. Of course, annual is the best, but that's one thing. One thing to consider and to remember. And if all else fails, make sure to give the tenant in the lease a 6 to 12 month notice, that they have to give you notice prior to the end of the lease if they're going to exercise their right to renewal option, allowing you and your broker to thoroughly evaluate the market and find alternative tenants to occupy your suite or building. That's huge. If you have that notice, hey, okay, we're not gonna, it's 6 months or 12 months from the end of the lease, and they're saying, hey, we're not gonna exercise the renewal, or if it passes by and they don't say anything, then they're not gonna exercise it. Then you have that time to go find that tenant, and you have the time to do your market analysis and make sure you've got the right rate going forward to present your suite and building to the marketplace. I hope these things are helpful to you. Again, these are 3 ways to keep your tenants renewing those leases and keep them happy. Quick review again: address the legitimate complaints quickly. Number 2, keep up with property maintenance. Remember that Disneyland Legoland difference. You want to be that Disneyland. You don't want to be, like I said, no offense to Legoland, my kids still loved it, but there was a stark difference. And number 3, be nice. Be Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. Be nice. You can still enforce what you need to enforce, but be nice. We know you guys are in it to make money. Of course we are. The world revolves around money, and that's what we're in it for. But at the same time, we can be nice, we can be respectful, and I know you guys are. But these are 3 tips I thought would be helpful, and hopefully you can find some value in it. But I will see you next week, and we'll talk about something a little better, maybe a little different. See you.